Hi guys, and welcome to this video on quadratic equations and in particular non-monic trinomials. So we've had a look at a particular quadratic in the past. We've looked at monic trinomials, and this is where the coefficient of x squared is equal to 1. So non-monic just basically means it can be any other number besides 0 or 1. So in this case we've got a trinomial with a coefficient of 2. Now we have multiple ways of solving a non-monic trinomial, and I'm going to show you a particular way here, and it's by splitting up the middle term. Now if we had two sets of brackets with whatever in there, and we expand it out, how many terms do we end up getting? Now we get 4 terms, but in a trinomial, tri meaning 3, we have 3 terms. But usually when we expand the brackets, the middle term is simplified by the other term. So 2 terms end up being the single middle term. So that's why we have 3. So we will end up having a particular method with this one, and it's called splitting the middle term. So like we had the product and the sum, in this case, the product is 2 times the constant term, so 2 times negative 12, which is negative 24, and the negative 5 stays the same. So we want 2 numbers that multiply to get negative 24, but add to have negative 5. So looking at the product, so we can have a 1 and a 24, 2 and a 12, 3 and an 8, 4 and a 6, not a 5, and then when we get to 6 it reverses, so that's okay. So I'm going to leave it like that for a moment. And because we have a product of a negative number, one of them will have to be negative. So for us to add these together to get a negative, the larger number will have to be negative here. So that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that one works, and that one doesn't. So we end up getting 3 and negative 8. Or we can have negative 8 and 3. So we're going to split the middle term up, the negative 5x, with a negative 8x and a positive 3x. So these two numbers are going to be the two numbers that we split the middle term up by. Now it doesn't matter which order we have it, because at the end we'll end up getting the same solution. So we could have the plus 3x, then the take away 8x. In this case I've got the negative 8x and the positive 3x in that way, doesn't really matter. And what we're going to do is concentrate on these two terms and these two terms. And if you can recall our work last year in grouping in pairs, we'll end up using that method for this factorization. So looking at the first two terms, what is a factor of those two? And we'll see that 2x is a factor. So we're going to factorize a 2x there. And the second two terms, we're going to factorize just a 3, because a 3 is common in both of those. Once we do that, we've taken out the 2x, and then we end up getting an x minus 4. We've taken out a positive 3, and we have an x minus 4 again in brackets. And there's no coincidence that these two brackets are the same. So the whole point of finding those two numbers is so these two brackets are the same. Because that is common out of, there's my first term, there's my second term, the x minus 4 is common. So I'm going to take that out the front, and what I've got left is a 2x plus 3. The common term is the x minus 4, that's at the front. I've got it in the second brackets, it doesn't matter. That's at the front, and then what I've got left is a 2x plus 3. There's my 2x plus 3. Now I've got it in factorized form. I'm going to just say that each of those are going to be equal to 0. So 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0. Getting that to the other side becomes a negative 3. Getting that to the other side becomes a positive 4. Divide by 2, divided by 2, x is equal to negative 3 over 2, or x is equal to 4. And there's our solution. So, verify that, see if that's the correct solution by substituting that into the original, and you'll end up getting that equal to 0 when you substitute both of those numbers. Okay, follow that same process, pause the video and see how you go with this quadratic. Okay, so the 3 times the 4 is a positive 12, there's a positive 12, and there's my middle term, which is my sum. So two numbers to multiply to get 12, and it's positive 12, so positive 1, positive 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, so then adding these two, I get my sum. That gave me 13, that gave me 8, that gave me 7, and that's the correct one. So 3 and 4, I'm going to split up the 7x, the middle term, to a 3x and a 4x. When we do that, we look at these two, and we look at these two. So looking at the first two, a common factor is 3x, so I'm going to take out a 3x. The second two, common factor of positive 4. So take out the 3x and I get an x plus 1. Take out the positive 4, I get an x plus 1. The x plus 1 comes out the front, and what I've got left is the remaining part, 3x plus 4. And equate both of those to 0, and then solve those two linear equations. That going to the other side becomes a negative 1, that to the other side becomes a negative 4. And then divide by 3 on that case, divide by 3, x is equal to negative 4 on 3. So therefore x is equal to negative 4 on 3, you could have negative 1 and a third, that is also the same answer, or negative 1. I'm going to leave my answer like that, so there are my two solutions. Okay, pause the video, see how you go with question 3 and 4, and then in a moment I'll post up the solution, or the answer, so you can verify it. Here are our two solutions for each. Let me know how you went. Okay, thank you for watching.